I told you. I told you. Nah, look, it is early. But Chelsea nil, Crystal Palace nil. The Blues, the world champions, stink up the gaff against Crystal Palace. Let's talk about it. Early drop point, early season, start their Premier League campaign. All this confidence, and they drop points. They drop points to Crystal Palace. What's better, the Community Shield or the Club World Cup? Because the two champions draw at Stamford Bridge. Interesting. Now, all jokes aside, boring game. Boring game. I can't believe the two games I watched were 0-0 and a 1-0 from a corner. I saw one goal. One goal in 180 minutes of football. Should have been two. It really should have been two. I'm going to talk about that first. Obviously, Eze, in what is likely going to be his last game for Crystal Palace, scores a very nice free kick, slaps it, absolutely smashes it into the goal. Keeper can do nothing about it, and it gets chalked off for a very soft foul. I don't know how that's not a goal. I don't know in what world that's not a goal. But it should have been a goal for Crystal Palace, and they probably go on to win that game if that happens. But yeah, let's get into it. First half I thought was quite even. I mean, 11 shots to 8, 2 on target for Palace. The possession's in Chelsea's favour, but I really thought Palace early took the game to Chelsea. Palace are the type of team that can just soak up pressure and then just hit you on the break. And they did a really good job. I mean, Chelsea couldn't do anything. They did have these couple of chances here from Cucurella from a corner, and then Achampong from a corner, and then Chalobah from a corner. Maybe Chelsea are the new set piece FC, because that's where all their shots came from. I mean, 0.23 or XG from open play in that first half. And then second half, Chelsea got a lot better. They really started to properly control the game. But then again, 74% of the ball, only the 8 shots. Like, they really weren't creating much. And that was a big issue that Chelsea had. First half, it was just a bad first half where Palace were able to get a lot of joy. Second half, that was what the game plan worked, in the sense of they're going to control, they're going to create chances, but it wasn't really but Chelsea weren't playing like we've seen this Chelsea side play. They weren't. They were playing very robotic football, which we have actually seen in around the Christmas period. Chelsea weren't free-flowing attacking wise. And I think that had a lot to do. I'll get to the Palace side of things later, actually. But I mean, that front four of Gittins, Palmer, Pedro, and Neto, they weren't finding much joy. They weren't really combining. We weren't seeing nice patterns of play. We weren't seeing them link up a whole lot. Gittins, I thought, was quite average. I mean, he wasn't poor in any sense. He took the game on, but he didn't really offer a whole lot. Neto, I probably thought, was the best out of the front four. Palmer was neutralised. He didn't really offer much. And then João Pedro dropped a stinker. He dropped an absolute stinker. It's almost like I told you that I don't rate him. Then the subs. I don't think Esteval played that well, but I think Chelsea looked a lot better when Esteval came on. He did actually come on quite. I didn't realise he came on that early. It took him a while. It took them a while, but he definitely did bring a bit of an impact. Chelsea got a lot better when Neto got moved to the left and Esteval came on, and I honestly think Chelsea probably would have gone on to win that game if they started that way. If Gittins didn't start, if they put Neto on the left and put Esteval on the right, I think that would have allowed him and Cole Palmer to link up a bit more. Because in the first half, Palace were a bit more open. They weren't as compact. They were trying to take the game on. And I think if they had Esteval and Palmer linking up there, playing their best football, then Chelsea could have got an early goal and then would have gotten in the rhythm of it and won. That's just what I think. The real surprise for me wasn't that Chelsea stunk. It was that they actually looked quite good defensively. I mean, I was shocked to see Acheampong. I was expecting either Wesley Fofana or Joel Hato, who were both named on the bench. But Acheampong played very well. I think that when Cucurella was inverting into midfield, I think they would have been better off having him on the other side, because I think he's better when he's out wider. He didn't look as good centrally. I think his best sort of moments were when he was tackling on the outside, was when he was preventing players from cutting in. And when Cucurella was inverting, that left him in the central area. And I think it would have been better if he was on towards the flank a bit more. Enzo Fernandez was completely anonymous. Like, genuinely, I don't remember seeing him do anything. Caicedo, again, just standard below at par for Caicedo, but he was good. Like, he didn't light the world on fire, but he's put in a decent performance, like a below average performance for Caicedo. Now looking from a Palace perspective, Dean Henderson was great, made 2 pretty big saves. The Mateta one, not the Mateta one, that was Sanchez. I'm an idiot. Sanchez, I thought, actually played a good game. Made a couple decent saves, this one, rough. The back 4 looks solid. Lacroix was very, very good. Very, very good. Gahey was quite decent as well. Richards, I thought, looked good. Richards, I think, was probably the best out of the back 4, actually, because he was the one that was giving Cole Palmer nightmares. I mean, this guy was stepping up, and every time Cole Palmer would get close to the ball, he was there. Fair play to Richards, bro. He was very good. I thought his performance was excellent. Munoz in that first half gave them so much trouble. I mean, when they don't look as good. He doesn't look as good when Palace are playing defensively with the backs against the walls like they did in the second half. But in the first half, when they were playing on the front foot, he was really offering a lot, and he was giving Cucurella nightmares in that first half. Cucurella grew into the game, I thought. Hughes and Wharton ran that midfield in the first half, ran it, and then put in good defensive performances in the second half, especially Wharton. I thought he would be among Palace's best, either him, Richards, or maybe Eze, but if the goal stood, I would have put Eze there. And then the front 3 didn't really have much to do in the second half. Mateta holding the ball up very well. He should have scored. He should have scored in that first half. All he had to do was just put the ball wide. All he had to do was just put it a little bit further towards the post, and he would have scored. That's pretty much it. The subs, I didn't think the subs offered a whole lot. And yeah, I mean, there isn't really much to say from this game. Like, it was pretty stinky to watch. I thought Chelsea stank, as I said, going forward. If we talk about the later points in the game, Andre Santos, bro, how does he not score? How does he not score? How does he not at least get it on target? That effort was terrible. Really, really bad. Delap, it was weird. It was really weird the way they handled Delap. Like, Chelsea were actually whipping balls in, but the second they bring Delap on, they stopped crossing. Like, you've actually got a big body that can head a ball, and you stop crossing? Weird. Estevao had a mixed game. Very mixed game. I thought, again, he offered quite a bit in terms of allowing them to attack. They didn't look nearly as robotic when it was on his side as opposed to when it was on the left. But he had a chance that he really scuffed. I mean, he took too long on the ball, drove to an odd area, took a shot, didn't really challenge the keeper at all. And yeah, I mean, it was a pretty boring game. A pretty boring game. What else is there to say? I don't think there's really anything. I'm just going to talk about sort of Chelsea moving forward. Look, obviously I was joking before when I said that this means that they're not going to compete for the league. They still very well could. But I still maintain this game just sort of proves that what I'm saying isn't that crazy, is it? It's not that crazy. Me saying that Chelsea will not compete for the league, it's not that crazy to say because they weren't good. They weren't good. Yes, they created chances, but they didn't really. It's not like you, other than the Andre Santos one, it's not like they had massive misses that it's like, oh my god, you have to score, because they didn't create genuine chances. They did create clear-cut chances, but they didn't create like sitters, you know. It's not like it was finishing. It was just overall attacking quality. It reminds me a lot of Arsenal at times last season, where they've got a lot of the ball, generate a lot of shots, have a couple opportunities, but they don't give you that vibe of like, yeah, this is gonna be the winning chance. You know, you don't look at the chance and think that's the one that's gonna be a goal. I don't know if that makes sense. You might think I'm waffling. For my FPL, I mean, the game was quite decent. You know, Eze was robbed of a goal, but then it meant that Sanchez and Reece James both get clean sheets, and I thought Reece James was actually quite good. I thought Reece James played really well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This is probably the shortest match review I've ever done because there's just not really anything to say about this game. I guess we can look at both teams' fixtures. That's what we can do. Chelsea do have a decent run. They do have a decent run. They've got West Ham away next week. They have to win that. But after this game, that's a must-win. Fulham at home is another game they should be winning. Brentford away, another game they should be winning. Like, these are all fixtures that they should be winning. Old Trafford, I cannot wait for this game. Because United, if you bend over for Chelsea at Old Trafford, I'm going to lose it. Then Brighton and Liverpool. So then they've got a difficult run. After these first 4 games, that's when they start to get a few tough ones. And then if we look from a Palace perspective, I mean, Eze, obviously losing him is going to make them a much worse team than they are, but I still think that they've got quality. I mean, they've still got Conference League games to worry about. I've got that game on Friday. Then Palace at home. Then Forest at home. I'm expecting them to win that. Villa away, they've got a good record against Villa. Sunderland at home, they should win. West Ham away, I mean, 50-50. And Liverpool at home is obviously a tough one. So, yeah, not guaranteed points or anything for Palace, but I'm high on Palace. Like, I'm expecting them to actually do quite well this season. Now I'll briefly touch on the Nottingham Forest game. I didn't watch it. I saw all the goals. Brentford are going down. I told you guys that Brentford are going down. And this game all but convinced me that that's definitely going to be the case. Seems like Chris Wood's showing no signs of slowing down. 2 great goals. And Dan and Doy. Let's see, like, I mean, yeah, good to score in his debut. Very good to score in his debut. Yeah, there's not really much else I can say because I didn't watch the game. It's just Brentford, you're going down. Maybe I was wrong about Forest. Maybe Forest are going to cook this season. But yeah, overall, I thought that Chelsea weren't great. I thought the Palace did deserve something from that game. Like that's the thing. I think you could look at Chelsea and say they created enough chances that they deserve the win. But then I don't look at Palace and think that they deserve to lose. I think Palace definitely should have got something from that game. And with the disallowed goal, I wouldn't think it would have been that crazy to say Palace could have won. To say they really could have won. To say that they almost deserved to win. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Chelsea's stinky 0-0 draw to Palace. Great hate watch. And then look, you can say what you want about Arsenal's performance, but we won at Old Trafford. You drop points to Palace at home. So yeah, who's finishing 4th now?